We have already 3 attendees. Hello, guys. Welcome to today's edition. Let me just start a video on my end. Hello. Hello, guys. Welcome to today's edition, today's webinar edition, an event-driven approach to technical analysis. We're going to be starting in a few minutes. We're going to give some minutes for those latecomers. So, give us some, spare us a couple of minutes here.
Perfect.
Alrighty, so let's we're gonna start the webinar today. Okay, so we're gonna get started here in a few moments.
All right, I should be sharing my screen right now.
Great, fantastic. All right, guys. Well, welcome to today's event-driven approach to technical analysis. We are going to be, this webinar is going to be hosted by Gary Christie, who heads the North American Research Desk at Trading Central. Trading Central is an award-winning house of investment insights. It's going to be a fantastic opportunity for us to learn more about how we can learn about technical analysis. This is your host. And let me just really go real quick about the disclaimer that we have to give with Trading Central. I won't go over the whole detail, but let me just read over to you real quick some sentences. So the information provided does not constitute in any way a solicitation or inducement to buy or sell securities and similar products. Comments and analysis reflect the views of Trading Central at any given time and are subject to change at any time, right? And then I'm your host, Giovanni. All right, I've been a trader, analyst, educator for over 20 years. And today is not about me, it's about you. It's about Trading Central. and the disclaimer that I will need to read to you with Vantage. So the information, context, opinions, which are expressed in the presentation and on the following slides are solely those of the presenter and not necessarily those of Vantage, and are solely used for educational purposes, as they do not constitute investment advice and or consultation on how a client should trade. Vantage does not guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information provided herein. Okay, so with that being said, let's take a look at the agenda for today. The introductions have been done. We're gonna hop into an event-driven technical analysis, types of technical events, finding technical events inside the Vantage web platform. So let me just hop into the introductions more about who we are at Vantage. All right, so we are very experienced traders and analysts with 20 years plus. We were founded back in 1999. Okay, so we are regulated. We are a company that has been regulated with different companies. We have received several awards: Best Broker Australia, Best Broker Mobile Trading App, Best Customer Support Australia. And one thing that we didn't place here, but I do want to make note of, is that Vantage has partnered up with UNESCO to bring education across the globe, and we started with India. We're going to be sponsoring a lot of students' education of AI in India with UNESCO. So that is something that we are very proud of. And I wanted to mention that real briefly with you. Our mission is very simple, is to equip traders of all levels with world-class trading solutions in the financial markets. And that's basically why we are here. Okay. Now, obviously, as a broker, we want to be able to give you the best offers. Our instruments, we have over 1,000, and we continue to add more. Sharp patterns over 100, technical indicators and drawing tools over 100. You can trade almost anything or everything across our platforms. We have different platforms that we can obviously be able to use, such as MetaTrader, also your own website. Now, when it comes to sponsorship, we are being sponsored. We're sponsoring the McLaren. So the races, their support, we're supporting them is fantastic. They were actually down in South America, in Chile, doing a race, and it was a tremendous opportunity. So with that being said, we obviously also have a lot about sustainability when it comes to championship awareness, the streams of the sport, and things like that. Now, why Vantage? Vantage, why do we want to be able to trade Vantage? Well, what we stand for, which is very important to you, and it's very important to us. Here, you're going to get lightning fast execution, which is very, very, very important to you as a trader. You have top-notch security. You have strict regulation. You have global connectivity, and this is very also important. Besides needing to the tools, the 24-hour support, but being able to have liquidity, being able to come out of your trade with low slippage, that's very important. Our servers are located at the exchanges. So at this moment, we are connected to New York servers. So this is some of the differences that separates us from a lot of the other brokers out there. So we offer you a wide range of leverage, transparency in regulation, exclusive promotions. We offer you raw account spreads from 0.0 and only $2 per lot. And also, one of the best things that you're going to be able to look for when you trade with Vantage, sorry about that, is that the speed at where you be able to trade. Okay, that's very important for you to understand. Now, with that being said, I want to pass this over to Gary, who he's going to take over and just show you why you're here. Gary, take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you, Giovanni. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Vantage, for inviting me to talk on behalf of Trading Central to really show some of the unique tools that offered inside the Vantage platform. And these are tools that I'm extremely passionate about because they're all about saving time for the trader and the investor to really help do your homework and your research and really automate most of that work so that you come in every day, you can have some fresh trading ideas ready to go right on the Vantage platform. So now, just before I begin, just a little bit about Trading Central, just to make sure you know who we are and why I'm talking today, and just a little bit about us. Again, as you already mentioned, we were founded back in 1999. We actually purchased Canadian automated tech analysis firm Recognia back in 2014, and we specialize in technical analysis. But we have actually branched off to fundamental and quantitative research. We have a labs in France that does our quantitative analysis, and we're digging into AI research, which is pretty cool stuff, in my opinion. We have major offices in London, Paris, New York, Hong Kong, and Ottawa, Canada, where I am right now, in Ottawa, Canada. And I'm from my home right now, but we have an office being built as we speak, ready for next month. I found a nice fresh office since the pandemic when we shut down our old office. So we're moving up to nicer digs. I'm excited for that. This might be my last webinar from home, which I'm looking forward to after 3 years approximately. So at Trading Central, we offer, we provide basically full coverage of stocks, ETFs, indices, options, FX, futures contracts, you name it. We advise on any kind of product. A little bit about myself on that. And so I head North American, the head Trading Central's North American research desk. We have a team in Ottawa here that manages New York, trading in New York and in Canada, where I'm located now. And we provide market direction to hedge funds all around the world based on U.S. markets, and we build technology as well. So we're building technology that you're going to see today within the platform, Technical Insights it's called, where we automated a lot of the technical analysis research, which is pretty cool stuff. So I've been a trader for more than 20 years myself. I worked with a lot of major banks in Canada. My background's in derivatives as an options specialist, but I've been building trading plans for traders and advising on trading plans for many years. That's my passion, and really building tools to help traders make better decisions and help with risk management. So enough about me and Trading Central for now. Let's just jump in to the tool. But before we get into the tool and the web interactive demo, what I want to show really is some foundations of technical analysis, because not everyone here understands what technical analysis is or means, and how it can benefit you in your trading. So, first slide here, what is technical analysis? That's really what I want to, provide some brief information as to how technical analysis can really improve your decision-making process. So, in a nutshell, technical analysis is the study of patterns and relationships in price and volume history that reflect the psychology and attitudes of investors and traders in the market. Right? That's the basic definition. Now, how do we use it? Well, technical analysis is used to determine the trend of a stock. It also really helps us be disciplined and work with a trading plan. I can't stress that importance enough. And as a technical analyst, you really do believe that prices reflect all available information in the market right now. So all you really have to focus on is price action, not the fundamental data, not earnings reports, not news. So that's a pure technical analyst, is all about price action. Now, people are often surprised to learn that technical analysis is not new, although the name technical analysis makes you think it's something more recent. It actually dates back to over 400 years to the rice futures markets in Japan, actually, and the use of candlestick price charts to really help predict price action and rice demand in the market based on trader psychology, right? So if you want to learn more on just candlesticks alone, there's a great book out there called Japanese Candlestick Charting Techniques, written by Steve Nissen. It's one book that I followed. And there's a lot of information out there in technical analysis. This is not an education piece, really just the basic fundamentals we're putting in today and just talking about. But there is a legendary technical analyst out there called Martin Pring, and he partnered with Trading Central in the early years to help us build our algorithms. and he wrote a fantastic book called Technical Analysis Explained. It's available almost everywhere. It's actually the book that got me interested in technical analysis and led to my career here at Trading Central. I became extremely passionate about that methodology of trading. So you'll see in a moment, really how Technical Insight, the software today, really helps you find and detect chart patterns. I just want to give a brief description of why do we care. So how does someone use technical analysis? So let's just get really started here on a basic analysis chart. Here is a random stock chart, and the company name doesn't really matter, right? And that's all that matters is the price action, and that's really one of the major benefits, in my opinion, of technical analysis. Now, how could technical analysis have helped you prepare for future price movements? Looking at this chart. So, looking at the chart right now, so I'll just jump in. Here's a plain chart. Let's see if it loads up here. Here we go. So we have a plain chart. It's a little slow on my platform here, but here is a traditional approach to do technical analysis. Well, the first thing you generally do is put in a moving average. Let's see where the trend of the market is, right? So in this case here, we've added a 200-day moving average in green. And while you can see here that the price action is above it, which could be considered a bullish event, doesn't really tell us much more than that. In fact, it's quite flat here, so not really much happening. So what we would do here is we need to add some more information. So the next thing we would do as a technical analyst is put in a faster moving average. In this case, in blue, we've used the 50-period moving average. And this is a daily chart, so this is a 50-day moving average. And now we get a little bit more information here, right? So we know in a 50-day trend, of price action in the last 50 days, it's sloping upward, right? So now we have a bullish event. It's trending higher, so that's a one click, right? So we got some bullish scenario. We can keep going on this, right? Now we would add maybe some volatility. Here's Bollinger Bands, invented by John Bollinger, that helps us gauge, volatility. Are we near the upper band, lower band? There's different ways of viewing this. I tend to use it as if, if we're touching the upper Bollinger Band, maybe we have some good price momentum behind the action. And you can also use it as maybe an overbought indicator that's getting a little tight, and maybe we expect the price action to come towards the 20-period moving average or the mean area that's a little overextended. Many ways to interpret technical analysis of certain indicators. But now we're getting some picture. We got some upper price momentum. We can keep going and start adding mathematical indicators. In this case, we got at the top here, we got the MACD, and we got the RSI, right? So the MACD is a trend following momentum indicator called the moving average convergence divergence. And it really shows the relationship between two moving averages. So, and those moving averages are a 26-period by default and a 12-period. And the 9-period moving average is used as a signal, right? So we'll get into that later on when we dig into the product. In terms of the RSI below, right? It's another momentum indicator. And it helps us gauge the magnitude of recent price changes to really evaluate overbought or oversold conditions. And that oscillates between a rating of 0 and 100. And generally above 70 means possibly overbought and right for a pullback, and then below 30 we're oversold, right for a rebound. But there's many other ways of interpreting it too. So it's more like a science, right? So some traders use it as a momentum indicator. Above 70, they want to buy because it's showing price momentum. So there's a lot of ways to interpret this. We've simplified it in our algorithms. We think it's really useful to all traders, really. So let's just jump in. This is how it performed after the fact. So we have a really nice overbought situation with the MACD crossing over from a high level and relative strength way above 70, and then we got a top in this nice trend. But it did have a nice push higher, as you can see here, 68 all the way up. I think around 77. Then we got some warning signals, and these are technical events. And these events are what we identify every day, 24 hours a day in the software inside Vantage. And we're going to show you how that works. But let's just make sure we understand a little bit more of what's going on inside the software. Okay, so we call our original analysis, we call it an event-driven approach, which is the title and subject of this webinar today, of course. And the reason for that is because we detect over 60 technical events every day to bring trading opportunities right to your screen, which is designed to save you a lot of time, right? We do this every day in the stock and ETF market, even Forex as well. And the whole point is the automation is there to help you do all the heavy lifting, right? Technical analysis. And we can divide all these technical events into multiple categories, right? So we have short-term patterns. These are like hammers, shooting stars, candlestick patterns, upward and downward gaps. And we have indicators and oscillators like the moving average crossovers, MACD and RSI, which we just talked about. And we have the real interesting ones I like, the classic chart patterns, right? So these are, like, for example, head and shoulders tops, wedges, triangles. These are geometric shapes on the charts that traders look at to help anticipate future price movements, whether bullish or bearish, right? So they also help us with, looking at or identifying trend reversal patterns as well. And we'll talk a lot about that today. That's the most interesting, in my opinion, is these classic patterns. But yeah, we'll move on to some examples, right? So we're going to go through some examples of how you can use these events to identify setups in the market right now. So we're going to start off with short-term patterns that are based on the shape and relationships of candlesticks or price bars. And again, I mentioned that briefly. Candlesticks, great book by Steve Meason on Japanese candlestick charting techniques. It's a whole discipline in itself, but we've actually programmed it for you, right? So we're going to jump right in here, and then we have a stock here, pretty recent. So this is MFC, and I've chosen stocks that are available to you in the Vantage platform for US shares. And I've used real examples here. So these may be past date now, because of course these slides come in for approval, for compliance. So just take it for what it's worth. These are real time. I pulled right from the Vantage platform. It's how it looks. I encourage you, if you're online right now, jump into the platform under ProTrader Tools, and we'll show you how these work. You can follow along with me and pull up these symbols. It's kind of fun that way. But really, here's a candlestick pattern called a hammer. No surprise why it's called a hammer. You can see it. We have a long body below and a nice thick bar up top. And that circle green dot means we've identified the technical event. It's a bullish event, right? And we've given really the pattern duration and the price when it happened, right? So in this case here, we've seen quite a big reversal come from this bottom trend. The hammer confirmed, and then we moved higher from 15.50 all the way up to near $17 in this example, right? Another one, we have another candlestick pattern here. This is called an outside bar. This is on MGM. And this develops in a strong downtrend, right? So when the trading range completely encompasses the range of the prior bar, this is a reversal signal. It signals an exhaustion of the prior downtrend. And here we clearly see that, right? So we see the trend, that prior downtrend in the short-term pattern. The pattern confirmed itself automatically. Then we've had a strong reversal now since that happened. So that's and you can have candlestick patterns by themselves, a single candle. You can have 2 candle patterns. You can have 3 candle patterns. It's a lot to go over. I'm not going to go over it in this presentation. There's lots to talk about, and I only have so much limited time. But again, these are identified for you automatically in the platform. It's up to the user, the trader, to figure out what interests them in terms of patterns, and you can search for that specific event in the platform, which is really interesting. So I'll show you how to do that momentarily. So from the short-term patterns, we can jump into indicators and oscillators. There are a lot of different types of indicators, like trend following indicators, that are used to smooth the price action in order to help us identify price trends. And some are just there to measure the speed and direction of price changes, which could be important to a trader. So right here, we have a good example here of Eli Lilly on the New York Stock Exchange. Here's a simple indicator that we talked about in the beginning of this presentation, a moving average crossover. It's probably one of the most popular technical events out there because they're fairly easy to identify. It's just a crossover to moving average, right? So a moving average is just defined as the average price over the last number of days. In this case, it depends on which moving average you select. In this case, we got the 21-day versus the 50-day crossover. The square on the chart shows you when the event took place, and that's a bullish event. And we can see the trend has now reversed quite a bit on Eli Lilly in this example. Right, so moving averages, important to note, they tend to work best in trending markets, but not so much when we're in a range or consolidation zone. And I get this question often. People ask me, why do traders use the 20-day over the 50 or the 200-day? Why are these the most popular moving averages out there when we talk about technical analysis? Well, the 200-day actually got its start. This is a little fun fact. Out in the silver market because Kodak, the old photography company Kodak, used to be the biggest silver supplier in the world and used to keep a 200-day of supply of silver on hand. That's where it got its start from, this moving average. And it's kind of just been, followed from traders for generations, right? So now the way Trading Central likes to use moving averages is to help us really identify trends. So the 20-day moving average, we use that to summarize the average price in the last month. Then the 50-day we like to use for the last quarter or 3 months, and then the 200 days for the whole year. That's how we kind of gauge our long-term, medium-term, and short-term trends. That's how we use moving averages. Not to say it's the way you should use it. It's just sharing how we operate and how our analysts use them to find trends. Now, here's a recent price chart here of Marathon Petroleum. Of course, energy, we all know, if you've been following the market, it's been pretty hot in the marketplace. So we've identified automatically here a triple crossover method. This is a bullish signal generated when the faster moving average, in this case, the 4-day, crosses over the 9-day. And then in turn, even crosses above an 18. So this is really to show us that this stock price may be an established new uptrend, which we can clearly see now with this new higher highs at 107. We crossed over, and that was a bullish event, helping us identify a bullish signal. Now, moving on, so we have the triple, we have a MACD as well on Marathon Oil is detected on October 4th. Again, we explained this already, what the MACD is. I won't jump into that, but we can see here, we do identify the oscillator. It's hard to see in the screen with the color coding, but there is a crossover here at just below the 0 line with a square below the chart, which identified a bullish momentum in price action. So we do detect a MACD crossovers automatically. Now, moving on, so we'll finally discuss quickly, so you know what to look for, classic patterns. And these are distinct price swings that form a geometric shape on the chart. As I said before, they may not be widely used by traders because it does take a specific skill set to really identify them. And that's really where Trading Central's value really kicks in here, because we can automate and automatically detect all these patterns for you. So you don't have to have that special eye to looking at, like I do as a career, looking at patterns all day. You may not have that kind of time. Maybe you like certain patterns that you only want to follow, like a falling wedge, head and shoulders top, bottom reversal, whatever it is. You can program that to find the patterns that you like, or you detect all of them for you, and you can make that judgment call yourself. So let's just have a look at how it looks in the platform. Here's a chart of Kroger, and we've confirmed here a falling wedge. Or basically, a falling wedge is a continuation wedge, because we expect the prior trend to continue, right? So what this really means is that's a temporary interruption to an uptrend. We got two converging trend lines taking shape of almost a falling triangle, or they're both slanted downward against the prior trend. And this is really all about the bears attempting to win over the bulls, but in the end, the bulls triumph, and as the break above the upper trend line signals a continuation of the prior uptrend. This is what we have here happening here. We have a nice breakout. All classic patterns in the software are designated by a triangle, a green triangle for a breakout, to be bullish or bearish. Right, so that's a great example of continuation wedge on Kroger. Another one here we have is a double bottom, which is a very popular classic pattern to signal the bottom of a downtrend. This is one in Palantir where we've had, and keep in mind in the software, we give you these definitions, right? So you don't have to understand what the pattern is. Right below it is going to tell you this price seems to have reached a bottom after failing to break through a support level and ultimately rising higher in a reversal to a new uptrend, right? So the beauty of classic patterns here that tend to be more popular is because they have what's called a measured move, and they give you price targets. So in here, because we have this measured move in the breakout, we can measure the bottom of the pattern to the breakout and project a price target higher. We've automatically done that for you in the software. As you can see here, we have a target price of $8.95 to $9.15 on this stock based on the technical event, right? Now, keep in mind, this is not advice at all. This is textbook theory of technical analysis. Measured move is a textbook theory of how you predict a target range, and we will use that based on the type of pattern it is and usually the width of the pattern. So we'll move on to other examples. We have one here on MGM, and this is the diamond bottom pattern, another very difficult pattern to identify, quite rare when you see it. But we can see here that when this bottom diamond pattern confirmed itself, we'd actually hit the target price already. So this is, I just wanted to show you how it looks on a classic pattern event in the software. The dark green area at the very top is our target range where we expect it to hit based on that measured move in theory. And one of my favorite, we'll just show before we jump into the platform, right? This is going to be, this is Hess. Right now it's an upside breakout. And here we have two horizontal lines, and we've broken out with this triangle at the top, and we have a measured move, which is basically the width of the pattern to hit that target price of 116 in this idea. So just to show you how that looks in reality, we have a breakout event and where we can expect it to hit. So breakouts are one of my personal favorites, but may not be your favorite. Breakouts upwards or downwards is really adheres to a trend following methodology. But the beauty is you can program the software inside to really find these for you and do your homework for you, so you don't have to be scanning the entire S&P 500 like I do every day for a living. So this really helps us as a retail trader and as a professional. When I advise institutions, we use these tools, right? So you're getting this institutional level research and tools right inside the Vantage platform, and I can't stress that enough how convenient that really is, and encourage everyone here to really go ahead and play with the tool online as soon as you log in. So we are going to jump into that right now in a live demo. There's a lot of resources available. I don't know if Giovanni wants to jump in here and talk a little bit about some of the resources on the website before I get into the live demo. It's up to you. So what I can do right now is jump right in to a live demo, and then we can maybe share some of these after, based on all these other extra tools you've got inside the platform. This is beyond my scope, so I'm here to show you the real fun and use inside the software. And if you have questions, definitely shove them in the platform here. I see some questions. I'll try to answer them as I'm doing the presentation. I see some questions already, about the leverage ratio inside the platform. This is not my area, but we'll get to Giovanni at the end to answer some of these questions. I'll jump right into the live platform right now and just show you how it looks and where to get the tool, right? So I'm just logged right in to an account right now, and on the left side, you're going to see a bunch of tools and widgets and all this fun stuff. Really, I'm going to look at Pro Trader tools. This is where you can find Trading Central tools and what we're talking about today. So if you click on that, there's a bunch of interesting things here that we're going to have future webinars on, because I can spend hours on each individual product, like Market Buzz and Economic Calendar. I encourage you to look through them and keep your questions, write them down, and when these presentations come up, just be ready and join the presentation. But today, what we're talking about is technical insights. So if you click on technical insights, let's give it a second. I probably have to log in again because I've been talking for a bit. All right, Pro Trader tools, technical insights. Let that load, because there's a lot of information right on the landing page, right? So this is all about technical analysis right here. So right here you have a landing page, which gives you a ton of information without even clicking anything, right? So what you're going to see right off the bat on the top bar is your most recently viewed stocks inside technical insights. Now I've been playing around with this, so you see some of the stocks I've used. You can see some I've used in the presentation today. This is where I got them from, and it will remember what you looked at over the last week. So that's your most recently viewed to you personally based on your own searches. And then you have, based on the community advantage, how many people are looking at what stocks. So this is what the community is looking at that's using the tool right now over the last week. So you can see the most popular stocks being viewed that are bullish. Then you have in general what stocks are being viewed the most. A lot of makes no surprise, a lot of Australian stocks. And then you have what's trending now, which is the most popular stocks making moves or having the biggest price action, right? And then you have the most viewed bearish, of course. So you can scan through these, play around with it, see, try to find some ideas If you click on one, it's going to give you a very detailed view, like APA, jump into a whole panel here of technical events. We'll get to this screen in a minute. There's lots more to talk about. So going back to it, technical insights, the main page. There's a couple of things. I'll just jump back and forth to refresh the main page. Where do you get started? So if you have a stock idea, you can plug in the symbol right here. Just type in, like, example, Apple. It's going to come up right away. Pick the version you want. You got NEO, you've got NASDAQ. Obviously, we pick on NASDAQ on this one, and you're going to get a breakdown of technical events happening for Apple. There's also a hamburger menu here at the top left. If you click on that, you're going to have the main homepage, which is where you're at right now. You're going to have a screener, which we're going to dig into right now. There's also a very interesting and useful watch list and alerts section, which is what I use the most, because most of the stuff is going to be automated for you based on your search criteria. But let's look at the screener today. And now this is where you start digging for technical events. So right off the bat, it defaults to home market, of course, Vantage Australia. So you're going to start screening for any kind of stocks. I want, you can do bullish or bearish. I'm just going to use example today of bullish. You can select the sector that you want to look for in ideas. All the subsectors are there. You could also scan a list from some popular themes, like the top rated Australia, unusual volume leaders, right? Or in my case, I'm going to stick to my main market because I am a North American analyst, of course. So I want to select US. So I can select US. And when I do that, you can see how the list changes for certain themes, right? So I can also even screen all stocks in the S&P 500 index. Pretty powerful. I can do that right now and instantly changed my results to only focus on that index. And let's just do a quick screen here. So let's jump into, I want stocks. You can do stocks with options if you trade North American options or ETFs. I'm going to leave that open in this example right now. You can select your market cap, small, medium, or large. Let's just select large cap to get the biggest, probably the most, and it gives you a definition as well as to what these are if you don't have to be very familiar with what each definition means. So I'll do large cap. And if you want to use a quant methodology from Trading Essential, if you haven't heard this before, here's a definition if you hover the mouse over. So TC Quantamental Ranking, we combine a bunch of criteria in terms of fundamental research combined with technical. So if you can always combine fundamentals and technicals together to get the best chance of success if you follow fundamentals. And we actually rank stocks on a rating of 1 to 10, 10 being the best in terms of growth, income, value, quality, all these 4 metrics. And we can scan for those. Generally, I like to pick, anything above 6 is the top of the top. I don't leave it open today because that's a whole other discussion on that methodology, but it's a quant ranking system if you want to combine fundamentals. That's what I'm going to say about that today. Pretty cool. I'll leave it open today. You can also pick your time frame. So if you want shorter term daily charts or weekly charts where you want to detect patterns on or technical events. And then this is where you can really dig in to find what you want. So you can select everything here if you want to find any kind of technical indicator, but you're going to get thousands and thousands of results. Unless you pick a sector like S&P, then you're only going to get 500 max. So of stocks you can find. So in this case, if you click on the arrow down to classic patterns, you can select the pattern you want now. So maybe you only want to find certain stocks that say, let's just pick one, the head and shoulders top, triple top, upside breakout, for example. Let's see, market's been quite bearish lately. Is there any stocks making new breakouts? You can also select the type of candlestick bar pattern you want, any kind of indicator, like a moving average crossover, or maybe you want to focus on momentum, a MACD, RSI. I mean, the possibilities are endless. That's why I really encourage you to play around with it and really play the tool and see what works for you. And if you select classic patterns, you can actually select your possible price move, minimum and maximum. And that only works with classic patterns because they have those measured price moves. But I kept it pretty simple. Let's just see if you have any breakouts. We do have some, right? So this is some US stocks that have some breakouts happening right now. Now you can see the events, but I like to click on the chart version here on the right side next to subscribe, and then you can get the chart, and you can select which ones that look interesting to you. Right, so we have some massive moves happening here in the HEST. I think I actually talked about that in the presentation slides. But you have some ideas here. Not every idea is going to be perfect. Some have moved on. Some have invalidated or validated. All we're doing here is detecting the event for you. But you can open it up, right? So if I open it up right away, I can go ahead and select all of them. And we're gonna get the best of the best right now of classic patterns. I'm gonna take off candlestick patterns here, just classic patterns. And now we have some interesting setups in the US market. There's Hess, Cummins breaking out of these symmetrical triangle patterns, ConocoPhillips, Dollar General. I mean, the list goes on and on. You can play around with this, right? You can change your market anytime and quickly on a dime, right? So maybe you want Australia. Right now, large cap looks like there's no technical bullish events right now coming up. You can select all for different kinds of market cap, probably because the market cap in Australia is a little different than the US. But now you've opened up a lot more, right? So we have some interesting setups in LTR, OBM. These are all breakouts happening. It looks like Australia is breaking out right now. I kind of use this as well, as a sentiment tool as well to see what sectors or themes of stocks are making certain pattern breakouts. That can also be a tool for you in terms of sentiment analysis. And clearly we see some happening here in we get some metals and mining sectors, actually a lot of metals and mining, but pretty diverse, oil and gas. But that's how you can detect patterns in this market. Maybe you want an alert now. So we have a screen for Australia and bullish and all classic patterns. Maybe you want to be alerted to this every day. Instead of taking this time like I'm doing right now, going through the entire market, you can click on subscribe. I would call it, ASX classic patterns. Hit OK. And now you've subscribed to that screen, basically. So if I go to my alert center now, I have an alert going tonight, and it's going to work tonight or around, I think, 7 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to scan that watch list specifically you just made for new ideas and alert you by the tool here or in your inbox. You can select, you put in your email address right here, and it's going to email you any classic pattern bullish event that's going to happen in the Australian market every day when it comes available. That is a hugely powerful tool, right? So you don't have to do any work. You know you're going to find some classic patterns. You can check your email in the morning before the trading day starts, and you're going to have some ideas hopefully there for you if there's any patterns happening right now, right? So we'll move on right now. So you can also filter technical events again. You can change it anytime you want, but now you have an alert set up for that. Okay, what if actually I had Apple up here. Maybe you're looking at Apple and you want to, have some alerts on Apple by itself. You can do that as well. You have a very powerful alert system built into the tool that has no cost to you, right? So right now, we can see overall, we have a short-term trend that looks like it's bullish 2 to 6 weeks of most technical events happening in the short term and nothing bullish happening midterm or long term. So that's giving you a sentiment analysis right away, right? You can trade right away from it. If you want to trade the stock, you can set an alert, right? And then if you want any technical event opportunity on a single stock, just click on technical event opportunities and select the ones you want. You have all the patterns here, all like the candlestick patterns, indicators and oscillators, and create the name. So I want classic patterns. I'm going to select all of them, right? That's all I care about. I want classic patterns on Apple. I'll put AAPL classic pattern alert. Set alert. That's gone in the system now. So now every day as well, whenever a pattern comes up for Apple, you're going to get an email alert on that, and you can jump right in the tool and see why. So that's pretty powerful. You can see how we're slowly automating things to really, help us with our workflow, trying to find trade ideas. So there's a lot more to look at here, right? So we have Apple. You can move the chart around, zoom in and out, right? See the patterns. You can click on the events that's happening, and it'll give you a description as to why. So I won't go through all this because there's so much to talk about, but you can see every event. And it's not biased in any way here. We're not here to give advice. We're here to show you technical events that are happening. It's up to the trader to interpret that, to use it to their advantage or not. Our job is to give you the tools and the events happening. Now, you can also find support and resistance in the tool. If I click on this, we defaulted to basic support that's been found at 146.32 and some resistance at 166 based on bars. So you can change this. Maybe you want to go shorter term. Go to 100 bars. It's going to automatically adjust for you. And of course, you can set an alert. So 154, maybe you're a breakout trader, you want to buy Apple when it hits, or bypasses resistance. You can change that price, hit alert if you want, hit OK, and now I just quickly in 2 clicks create an alert. See, in Alert Center, you'll be emailed and notified when Apple hits that stock price. Or opposite support as well. If you're looking for a bottom-up approach, you can do the opposite. And also, probably the most important in my opinion, is the stop price. You can also use our suggested stop price for Apple. We have a Trading Central medium stop based on volatility. You can do a tighter stop, and the purple triangle is going to move up. Or you could do a percent. Maybe you're long the position already, and I want to get out if it drops 15%. Well, there's your 15%, 129. And again, click on that alert bell, and then right there you have an alert set up. You'll be emailed if it hits your stop. So again, a very powerful risk management tool as well, and probably what I use it for the most, and for my workflow, based on my portfolios and whatnot. So that's your risk management tool right off one stock chart. There's a lot of information here you can look at on that. As we're running out of time, I'll show you some other features that I use the most here. Watch list. And this is really powerful. So what I have done here, there's a great deal of advantage right now in US shares, right? So I'm on the Advantage website right now. You can get the list of all the US shares available you can trade Advantage. So all I've done is I've taken, here's all the stocks. It gives you the leverage, 20 to 1, right? And all the products are listed here. Just show you how easy it is. What I've done is I've just gone ahead and highlighted it, popped it into Excel. I'm just going to show you that workflow now. And I don't know why it's not showing it for me, but anyways, you can pop it into Excel and then paste the symbols right into the platform, right? So if you make a new watch list, you can put in US share. I already did in this case here, but you can call watches wherever you want, add, and start typing, Microsoft, Apple. You can start adding as many as you want, right? And what I've done here is already done it for you. So I've done it for US shares, and I've listed all of them here. Just by pasting them in, it'll find the symbols for you automatically. And from here, you can see right away a lot of information already. You can see the current technical insight scores, short-term bullish, intermediate term, quite bullish, and a little bit bearish for, this is one for Align Technologies, but they're all here. And from here, you can go ahead and click on Find Events. So now I'm only going to search for stocks available inside Advantage, which makes perfect sense. And I now have a screen. So maybe I want to do classic patterns again. I want bullish events. And right away, I've done 2 clicks, pretty easy. I can click on the charts to see what's available right now. Some very interesting things happening right now on US shares. Big breakout happening. So much ideas are happening right now as the market's trying to attempt a rebound. Look at Lulu's in there breaking out on a diamond bottom, Capital One. But again, just hit subscribe. And you're going to have, I'll call it US shares long, let's call it, for example. Hit OK. And again, you're going to be alerted. So now we have multiple alerts set up in the alert section right now. You got ASX classic patterns for Aussie stocks, US shares long classic patterns on any time frame, and we have Apple stop loss, Apple resistance alert, and Apple classic pattern alert. So that is pretty powerful, right? And you can have as many as you want in here. You add them, right? So for watch lists and alerts, there's no real limit here. So you can go ahead and add it for any market. Of course, we can do UK market as well. We can do strictly Aussie markets. I'm sure Giovanni will show you those markets. Look at the Advantage website. There's tons of information out there on that. There's also, if I go to home, don't forget too, we can jump into the screener. You can look at Forex as well, right? So we do scan Forex ideas on any technical event, any oscillator, on the specific time frames, right? So look at that. So we have lots of happening here in the Canadian dollar versus US dollar. Interesting move today. And here I am in Canada, and we just raised interest rates for the 6th time in a row, 50 basis points today, which is hurting a lot of people, but it's a other discussion. Inflation's even worse, so it looks like it's pretty bullish for the Canadian dollar. Obviously, when rates go up, people like to move towards a higher rate environment. I think we're on lines with the US right now, if not a little bit higher. So that's something that's happening, and the technical events have already picked out a diamond bottom. You can click on that and see what's happening here. When the Canadian dollar has been under pressure for quite some time, now we're looking at possibly a breakout. Right, so that's Forex as well. So don't limit yourself just to stocks, because you can trade multiple products inside Vantage, of course, and really Forex is one of them. You can even do indices as well. Jump into the home page, do a screen, and you can jump into, if you want to get a sentiment feel for what's happening around the world in terms of, again, classic patterns or even indicators, whatever you want. It defaults to everything. Then you can get some ideas now on global indices to get you a feel for a certain market you might want to trade. So that's Forex. Watch this. I encourage everybody to use the most here because you're going to automate everything for you. You don't have to be digging. So you might spend some time in the week building a certain strategy or screen. Try them out, play around with them, and wait for those alerts to come to you once you configure your emails. And I know there's questions of where can you find it in the Vantage website. Again, as soon as you log into the system, you're going to find it under Pro Trader Tools. Pro Trader Tools is going to show you that. Moving on from that, just another, before we go, because I only have a few minutes left, featured ideas. I'm going to have to log back in because I've been talking for some time. Featured ideas is based on the Technical Insight tool. If you want to be alerted to just look on every day for current of the best ideas, click on featured ideas. And here we default to Forex, where we have some ideas happening right now. This is, in fact, this is gold versus Australian dollar we can trade, right? So we have an event happening. We explain to you what the pattern is and why it triggered. You can watch this. So every day we go back in here and you click on Forex, go to your watched Forex. It's going to trace the performance. So you can kind of do a quick back test. You can see how it performed if you bought today. Maybe you log in on Friday and see how did this trade work out. If you did trade it, you can go back and see your watched ones, and you can see the price performance move on as each day goes on. You can do it for stocks as well. So here we have stocks. You can customize the stocks for the best ribbon. It's only going to give you the best 10. In this case, I selected 5 bullish, 5 bearish, the best of the best. They do combine fundamentals as well. You can see we got a dividend yield in here, which is above average, dividend growth rate, and we have technical patterns. So we're combining everything for the best of the best. Again, a free tool to use. You can see BHP Group, great example here. We've got multiple indicators triggering, a bullish event with a target price. You can click on watch. You can watch that. You can go and customize this. I have Australia and London and New York and NASDAQ. You can select stocks. You can select whatever you want here and customize it. Add your exchanges. Add your fundamentals you might be interested in. Maybe you care about return on equity. Maybe you only want one sector or you want all sectors. But as you change this, it's going to change your top ribbon right away in real time with the best of the best ideas. Right, so we got tons here. Here's one on an LSE stock, BH Macro, nice symmetrical triangle breakout happening. So I would watch that and go back tomorrow, take a look at the watch stocks, see how they're performing. That's in a nutshell the tool. There's a lot to talk about here, a lot of stuff I get really excited about, but I don't have much time here, so I want to see if there's any questions. And it's been over almost an hour now. This should be available, I'm sure, as Giovanni will probably tell us, to be online sometime, this presentation, to jump in. But that's the majority of it, Technical Insights. We'll talk more about, and featured ideas, I briefly touched on. We'll talk about other stocks, other tools later on. Look forward to future webinars. Here we have, just APA Group is one that came up on my radar today about a massive head and shoulders bottom. And look at that, right? We have our target price coming into the 1075 to 1090 range happening right now. So we can we can monitor this, put it into your watch list, look at the long-term trend. It will change. You can manipulate the chart if you like. You can change the chart settings to price bars. If you want lines, you can add indicators too. So maybe you want to add the MACD and RSI. You can do that on this system. And here you go. You have MACD and RSI all looking like quite bullish momentum. So, moving average crossovers you can add. So whatever you want to click on, it's going to explain that to you in a good definition as to what caused that event. And the last thing I'll leave you with before we open up to any kind of questions, really here is the education aspect, because we built education into the tool. It's extremely important to us. We're not giving some pie in the sky ideas here. This is all textbook technical analysis theory. And anytime you want, click on this education hat next to the search at the top right. You can dive into all the stuff I've talked about today. So if you want to talk about those classic patterns, and maybe you're curious about a head and shoulders bottom, well, we have a whole education section here describing to you what it should look like, how it works, all of the education behind it, the duration, everything's here, right? So spend some time in here as a learning tool. It's a free resource of every kind of technical event out there and every kind of definition. And right from the tool we embedded, if you're learning about head and shoulder bottom, you can find those events right now with one simple click. Click on Find Events. It's filtered automatically to head and shoulders bottoms happening to your default market. You can change that, of course. But we're in Australia, and looks like that. We have a bunch of happening right now. So look how easy that is. You just learned about head and shoulders bottoms after spending some time in the education center. Click the button. We found real-time patterns happening right now. Pretty interesting, extremely valuable. I encourage everyone to play around with it. That's enough for me talking. I can talk about this for hours, but I'll open it up. If you have any questions, let us know, and I'll hand the mic back to Giovanni if he has anything to say further on with the tools. Thank you, everyone. Any questions out there at all? I think I answered some of them already in the chat. I see there where you can find these tools, definitely under Pro Trader Tools. And if you have any questions about technical analysis in general, I'm here to answer. You can pick my brain. Anything about risk management, how we built the tool, anything at all, I'm fully available to answer those. Just feel free to throw them in the chat. I see some hands raised, but any questions at all there? No problem, no problem. So it's becoming late, but this is recorded. Keep that in mind. So feel free to, I'm sure we'll have the recording available to you. And if you have questions, they can get a hold of us anytime. My name, again, Gary Christie. You can find me right on the tradingcentral.com website as well. A little bit about us and what we do, and a little bit more about the product. I'm available there. And I'll be at future webinars for sure with Vantage, talking about more products and technical analysis, fundamental economic calendars. There's so much to talk about. I have another one coming up in November about MT4 as well. So for those who do trade on MT4. So, and again, great question. Will we do it again? Very possibly. I mean, this is kind of a presentation I like to do at least once a quarter because we have different results happening based on the context of the market. So keep that in mind. And if there's any future webinars you want to see, just reach out to Vantage. But there will be more for sure. I can assure you that. Because there's lots to talk about here. We're in an interesting crossroads in the marketplace coming into the end of the year. It's been quite a volatile market, which I think is just beautiful for traders because the beauty of Advantage, you can trade in up or down markets, which is so important. So will be lots more presentations. I look forward to it as well, and talking about the markets for sure, and seeing how this year-end shapes up in this rising rate environment around the world. Quite interesting. Yes, this should be accordingly available. I don't know if Giovanni, or if you're on the line, let us know what we can expect after this, just for a follow-up of where to grab the presentation after. That's beyond my scope. I'm the speaker and presenter of the tools that we help design here. And there'll be a lot more discussions on this for sure.
Yes, for sure. It is being recorded. So once is reviewed by compliance and all, it'll be sent out, hopefully. So, and we will have obviously more webinars of this kind with Trading Central next month and December.
Perfect, perfect. So yeah, that's the presentation there, guys. So I thank you everyone for joining today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I encourage everyone to jump on and play with products and get a feel for it. And you see how easy it really is to help you with your research every day and finding those ideas in bullish or bearish markets. So it's quite beautiful. We put a lot of work into it, taking the trader's mindset in mind and the retail user, and we use it professionally. So play around. Any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're there for you. So thank you very much. And thank you, Giovanni, for inviting me today. It's been a long discussion, over an hour now, and I could spend more time. So I don't want to take too much of everyone's time, but thank you. Thank you very much.
Gary, thank you so much for joining us and giving this out these great tools. It is fantastic. It really is. Well, guys, like Gary said, I wish you guys a fantastic day. See you next month.
Take care, everyone. See you next month. Ciao.